What up, fight fans? It's the mighty mean Joe Frazier. You are now tuned in to Fist Physics. Today's topic is Special K, Kell Brook, Errol Spence Jr. Man, we're a little over 10 days away from this fight. And this is a fight that we've been waiting for what, about 2 years? 2.5 years? We've been waiting quite a while for these two to go at it. Quite a while. And I think on the Spence side, this fight would have happened a long time ago, man. But on the Kell Brook side, the A side, Kell Brook opted to one, try to make money going up to fight a bigger fighter, which I really think was a mistake at the time. And two, he was trying to get bigger fights. I mean, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, Spence's name was barely just cracking the surface. And when I say the surface, I mean his name was just starting to become familiar to the more casual fan. Kell Brook had a breakout year. I believe that might have been the same year that he defeated Sean Porter. So, I mean, that was his breakout year, and a lot of people were impressed by that win because it's hard to look impressive against a fighter like Sean Porter. But this fight could have easily happened 3 years ago, and the boxing community would have been satisfied. But instead, we had to wait for Kell Brook to figure out that, one, nobody else wants to fight him. No other big-name fighters out there want to fight him, so he has no choice but to fight Spence. There was nobody interested. Khan wasn't interested. Cotto wasn't interested. These are all high risk, low reward for a lot of the marquee fighters that Brook wanted to fight. So, unfortunately for him at this point in his career, he's in there with a young lion. At least he's being paid very substantially. They're going to get well paid, well taken care of for this fight. With a little bit over 10 days to go, I mean, and you know what? I guess you could say this is actually going to be my prediction video. Now, I'm a big fan of Kell Brook. I followed Kell Brook a long time, and when the guy was in his mid-20s, I was excited. I was like, man, bring him over here to the States. For whatever reason, they didn't bring him over till he was in his late 20s. And now we're looking at a Brook who is 30, 31 years old maybe, who suffered 2 bad injuries over the course of the last 5 years, which was the stab to the thigh by some deranged fan somewhere. I actually believe it was maybe the day after the Sean Porter win. And his orbital bone being broken in the fight against Triple G. Now, mind you, as I said, and I did a video prior to this one, just announcing when the fight was made and everything. And I was really concerned with the fact that Kell was taking this fight, I think maybe actually less than 6 months after, the broken orbital bone in the Triple G fight. And, I mean, I'm not sure how long things take to heal, but you figured you might want to sit on the bench for at least a good year and let that heal up properly. But because Kell didn't sit and wait for his body to heal up, I mean, he's been through a lot. I mean, this is a guy who came up in weight. He wasn't working as hard in his training camps to shave off the weight because it wasn't necessary. But at the same time, I do feel like coming into the new camp and having to get and you have to get back to your original weight, that could also take something out of Kell Brook. Now, Kell's going to be in front of, I think, 40,000 of his fans. It's going to be a few supporters out there for Spence. But because of the way the odds are stacked up against, and I don't mean the actual gambling odds, I just mean the obstacles that Spence has to overcome. He's going overseas. This is his first real marquee championship level fight with an audience of this size, where he's making this sort of money, where all the eyes are on him. I just get this feeling like Spence is planning on putting on a show. And when I say a show, I mean that he's going to go in there with the intentions of hurting Brook, hurting him bad, and getting him out of there before we get to the later rounds. Now, I'm a big fan of Kell Brook. And for a while there, I was actually under the impression that perhaps Brook could use the same tactics he used against Shawn Porter against Errol Spence Jr. But there's big differences between Errol Spence Jr. and Shawn Porter. Errol Spence uses many different southpaw angles, and Shawn Porter straight up. He comes straight forward. He's just hard to hit because of how low he gets in his upper body movement. Second thing is, Spence can bang. Spence can crack, man. He can take you out of there or he can just beat you up. Shawn Porter doesn't have that sort of power. I would actually compare Shawn Porter more to a Tim Bradley, a hard worker. He's a difficult guy to fight. He fights at a very high pace, but he's not a touch your chin you're gonna drop. He's not a knockout guy. You know, he doesn't have that monstrous power. And thank goodness for the guys in the welterweight division that he doesn't, because I think everybody would be in trouble if Shawn Porter did have Errol Spence's sort of power. But because of these flaws or little things that I caught, I don't think Kell Brook's going to be able to tie up Spence the way he tied up Shawn Porter. Spence is a much bigger guy in height, width, and I actually think he's more muscular at this point than a Shawn Porter. So you're not going to be able to pop your right hand and just tie him up like that. I'm also wondering, because I mean let's just face it. As an orthodox fighter going up against a southpaw, we all know, the hardcore fans anyway know, or the hardcore boxing community knows what tools Kell Brook is going to have to use against a southpaw. Doesn't even matter who or what southpaw it is. It's just a certain way that you fight a southpaw and a certain way that a southpaw fights an orthodox fighter. Now, is Brook's lead right hand gonna be enough to stop Spence? I mean, Brook can time him. He can time him coming in, throw that lead right, and slip under. But I'm just getting the strong feeling like that's not gonna work here. I'm getting that feeling like, unfortunately, and I hope that it doesn't happen, but I'm getting the feeling like Brook's body just falls apart on him. Because you're dealing with a kid who's coming in here who wants to make a statement. He wants to make a point. He wants to put an exclamation at the end of his name, and he can do that by knocking out a real champion in his backyard, in his home city. If he can do that, he becomes the man at the weight class. So, I mean, this is a dangerous fight for Brook. I hope they have a great game plan, because I'm not sure what they can do to avoid the punishment that I have the feeling Spence is going to dish out that night. Now, I'm not really sure if it's going to end up with the ref stopping it, with the corner stopping it, or maybe Brook getting knocked out. But that's what I'm feeling in my gut right now, man. And I love Brook, and I feel like anybody else in the welterweight division, I would have picked Brook over. I actually thought Brook would have done better against Gennady, but when you watch the footage of that tape, there's little things that Gennady does in that fight, and you understand why Brook's eye got smashed. And that's basically, just real quick, off topic, real quick, Gennady did not let Kell Brook throw his lead right and slip under. There are actually portions of rounds, and you might have to actually slow it down and watch frame by frame, but you can see as Brook throws the lead, he tries to duck under, and Gennady will literally take his left arm, drop it a little low, catch Brook, and push him back into position. And if my memory serves me correctly, that actually happened where he caught Brook, pushed him back into an upright position, and then hit him with the right hand. And I actually believe that's where the orbital bone broke, at that moment, right there. And Brook didn't have any answers for that. Brook's only answer was, okay, you know what? I can't use my slick move, so I'll just stand here and fight you. If you have that same attitude with a guy who's a lot younger, a lot fresher, might actually hit just as hard as a Gennady Golovkin, I mean, you're in big trouble. So, I mean, I guess my official prediction is going to be Spence by stoppage or knockout. Got a lot of love for Special K, Kell, Brook. And I feel like anybody else in the welterweight division, Brook walks over him. Literally, that means Amir Khan. Maybe Thurman might give him a run, but I kind of feel like he beats Thurman too. I mean, there's a lot of guys in the welterweight division that I would not pick against a Kell Brook. But Spence, he's only been getting better. He's been learning a lot. I've been seeing a lot of footage from the sparring sessions against one of the Charlo brothers where he did great. I've even heard rumors of Spence fighting guys as heavy as cruiserweight and doing well, and actually being able to hurt those guys at cruiserweight. I mean, for all we know, it could be rumors. It could be rumors floated out the gym to scare Brook and scare Brook supporters. I don't know, but the people that I'm hearing these rumors from, they're usually very accurate. And so I'm being led to believe that Spence hits just that hard. All right, fight fans, hit me in the comment section. Let me know who you're riding out with on this Brook versus Spence fight going down May 27th, 2017. It's being covered by Sky Sports, Sky Box, Showtime Boxing, and we will be receiving it live for free here in the States. Thank you, Al Heyman. All right, one.